was too late once. I won't be again.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back. We're here with another episode of the Underrated Podcast. We are the Undercast Company, and today we're going to be talking about John Carter by Disney. Came out back in 2012. And as per usual, we are your hosts. I'm Alan Torres, and with me is Ariel Ortiz
Hello.
and Derick McDuff.
Hey, everybody.
So yeah, pretty much John Carter came out back in 2012. I think we had kind of previously mentioned before we started that I think it came out at the 100-year mark because it was a serial magazine, like a Pulp Fiction type of like Sherlock Holmes, H.P. Lovecraft kind of thing. Started with A Princess of Mars by Edgar Rice Burroughs, and then continue on with the series of the Barsoom kind of series of books and stories. It stars Taylor Kitsch, Lynn Collins, Mark Strong, and Willem Dafoe. And yeah, so pretty much I picked this one. I kind of went in blind with it because I remember when it came out, I wanted to see it. I was kind of like, I was kind of excited for it because I felt like Disney was trying to do like this new Pirates of the Caribbean post kind of franchise, trying to get back into that live action game again.
Well, I think they were trying to do the next Avatar, you know? It was a couple years after Avatar.
True.
So they were like trying to make the because this is long before Disney had the rights to Avatar, and they're like, well, we need
that's
what
I was about to say.
Avatar.
Like this fell through, and then like we'll just buy Avatar kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even realize. I think it's like when Avatar came out, I just wasn't a fan. Like I kind of was like, I didn't even go see it. Like I think I didn't see it till like years later. Because Avatar for me, I was like, it looks okay. But like John Carter, I was like, all right, that looks pretty badass. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was like Disney's answer of like, well, there's all these comic book movies, so we're gonna do like our new franchise kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so pretty much, like I said, I went in blind with this one, but I want to hear what you guys think first.
I'll go first. I thought it was okay. I mean, I definitely see why it didn't pick up any momentum. It felt like going off of what you said, Alan, about like the Pirates of the Caribbean kind of feel. It felt like the more older ones in not really getting too much of a momentum to them, and it was kind of dragged on. I know when you came in right now, you said how slow it felt, and it did definitely feel very slow. The concept was pretty interesting, and I did enjoy that. I did enjoy like the whole thing of like it being astral projection or making a copy of yourself, essentially like telegraphing, and that's how he ended up on Mars. I wasn't expecting to see Judy Cortez as Edgar Rice Burroughs, at the beginning. Did you know that that's Judy Cortez from Spy Kids?
Holy shit!
Yeah, yeah, that's Judy Cortez from Spy Kids. So that was pretty interesting to see him. Because of that, I kind of had gotten confused at the beginning because I didn't know that this was like after his his travels on Mars. So that was I had like a brain fart at the beginning a bit of that.
There are like 5 or 6 big openings.
Yeah.
And I mean I could see how that would be a little bit like whiplash.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really there's moments like in the movie where I really wish like they explained it a bit more, specifically his past with his wife and child, like why they were caught on fire. But now thinking about it, was it the Indians?
Yeah, they got attacked by Apache, I think he said.
Oh, okay.
I want to say.
Yeah, but yeah, essentially
it was an Indian raid, I think.
Essentially, it was okay. I mean, Taylor Kitsch he's an okay actor.
This was the 6-month sliver of time when like Taylor Kitsch was gonna be a thing.
Yeah,
like people were like Taylor Kitsch is the next
he was
big
coming
thing.
off of he was coming off of Friday Night Lights. Yeah, he was coming off of Friday Night Lights and stuff, and that's like a critically acclaimed You know, so yeah, everybody thought Taylor Kitsch, but it was Anthony. Oh well, Anthony Mackie was in the movie Friday Night Lights, not in the show. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was okay. It was enjoyable. It got a lot better at towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like with the increase of action and stuff. The villain wasn't too great.
Oh, don't you dare talk bad about my boy Mark Strong like that.
No,
Mark
not
Strong
Mark
is
Strong.
incredible.
No, not Mark Strong. The other one, the pansy. The
The other
pansy.
one,
the
the
pansy. The
pansy.
patsy.
He was just a pawn.
Yeah,
the
the pawn.
real villain, Mark Strong.
Yeah.
Who just shows up in his bald and starts monologuing. You're like, this is what I need from my Mark Strong.
No, Mark Strong with like the
Tell me,
Illuminati.
Earthman, have you ever heard the stories, Earthman?
Mm-hmm.
Just like, oh my God, yes, please, all of that.
Yeah.
Well, just to fill in, just to fill in a little bit for the listeners, I forgot to mention a little bit about the plot. I mean, if you don't know about it, I mean, it's on Disney Plus if you want to go watch it. But essentially, it takes place in the late 1800s. The titular John Carter gets blasted over to Mars, and he's kind of like a Superman-esque kind of person. He gets abilities when he's over there, and Mark Strong and his fellow Therns.
Yeah.
Therns, they're kind of like mystical,
like the Watchers,
Martians.
but
like
they
Watchers
intervene for the
They're like
bad.
evil Watchers.
Yeah, they're
they
evil
feed
Watchers.
off of like a death of a planet.
Oh.
So they're like making Mars. They're like helping the bad guys on Mars fight the good guys on Mars.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there you go. All right, we'll continue, Ariel. Sorry.
No. I mean, it was definitely like I know that this is one of the movies that we kind of like was one of the catalysts for our podcast here. Just and then especially the concept of that we did a few months ago of big swings. And yeah, you definitely see this is a big swing. It wasn't the biggest of swings that we saw during that series. But you could see it, and I know the history behind it, and it kind of like being a gigantic flop for Disney, kind of like like how the early 90s kind of live action movies were, and like I've said before in this podcast, with our Tomorrowland movie Big Swing, that it kind of sucks that like Disney's live action movies don't really hit the mark so much. Some are very deserving of the recognition, such as Tomorrowland, and other ones not so much, like this John Carter. But yeah, I mean, I really do wish that Disney can that people can engage at least on the ones that are deserving of it, outside of the Pirates of the Caribbean and movie series like that. But I wish that like more Tomorrowland and even more John Carters, because at least it's them trying do happen. So yeah.
Yeah, and like that's the thing, is that's what I'm worried about, that we're gonna lose in, because this is before like Marvel movies were a thing, but like Avengers hadn't come out yet. Like they weren't like the big thing, for like Disney, and superhero movies weren't 9 years ago what they are today. And so studios were still willing to take like these risks on these big swing movies, because especially just not very far removed from Avatar. They're like, okay, let's give this guy Andrew Stanton, just like they had done, just same thing with Tomorrowland. This director who made this really good Pixar movie, Andrew Stanton's case, he had made Finding Nemo and Up. They're like, let's give him like the keys to the kingdom, and he'll make this big fucking huge action movie based on this old novel written by the same guy who wrote Tarzan, and had just this big sprawling mythology, and was supposed to be this trilogy, which obviously didn't happen because this is one of the biggest box office bombs of all time. Like it ended up losing about $200 million, probably, they estimate. Like, so I'm really worried that we're not going to really get any big budget original movies like it. It's all going to be just adaptations, and as much as I love the MCU, like those are going to be the only games in town, is the MCU and Mission Impossibles and stuff like that. Those are all going to be the big budget movies, whereas you're not going to get John Carters and your Tomorrowlands anymore. When especially post pandemic, when theaters start to come back and it only can be safe bets. I'm really worried that these type of movies will disappear, and anything like them is going to be, they'll still exist, but not with the budgets they do. They'll exist maybe on like the level of like a Starlight or something like that. Stardust, excuse me, or something like that. But for the movie itself, this is a movie like when I talked about the Big Swing series that Ariel brought up, like this is one I considered doing for my pick. I really do like John Carter. It's not a perfect movie, but it's a solid film that I bought the DVD when it came out, and it's a movie I've revisited every once in a while. I hadn't watched it in a couple of years until this podcast. Well, actually, I watched it for the Big Swing series because I was watching all those movies. But it's just kind of like what I wish Avatar had been, pretty much, where it's like this big sweeping space epic, but instead of being like this magical world where the plants are all amazing and just like nature, it's just like this dying planet, and it's like, and Willem Dafoe is there and he's got it in his arms. He's like, Basum, Dota Sojax, you must fight for us, and just I'm fucking so all about that, this like weird ridiculous shit.
One other thing that they didn't explain is how suddenly they could speak English.
No, because he drank the. No, he drank. They gave him the thing. They gave him the voice of Barsoom. Like,
oh my gosh!
when he's
I skip.
Okay.
I just like.
That completely went over me.
John, drink it.
Yeah, because I haven't watched the.
Yeah, and it goes from like subtitles to like English. Because she's like, she says like something like, if you listen, you'll be able to hear it. So like. So that's how they are able to kind of like start communicating with each other, which is always like an interesting thing, like to see like in movies, like how they do that, where it's like I remember I was watching like Road to El Dorado, and they just like straight up don't even address it. They're just like, yeah, whatever. They're just like all speaking Spanish now or whatever, like the Mayans and the Aztecs or whatever. And then like in Atlantis, they're like, oh, it's a root language, so they can all just. I'm like, that's not how linguistics works. Whatever, so. Like a little bit more, it's always kind of like a weird thing to get around, but I think they did a pretty good job with it in this movie. But yeah, I really did like it. It is like so just, if I'm going to see a movie that spends this amount of money, I'm really, liked the aesthetic of it a lot. I like the characterization of John Carter. It is a little bit, a little bit basic, but it is because it is based on something that came out in 1912, that a lot of stuff like Star Wars and Avatar, obviously, and everything else has been kind of based on the old John Carter, stories. So, but and there is some like fridging stuff, but I actually do like John's kind of redemptive arc where at the beginning he just doesn't care and just is like, fuck it. Like, I hate the world. Like, I don't care about the Apaches or like the Union or like whatever. Like, he's just all done. And you get to see Bryan. It's like
the randomness of Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston. Like, there's a lot of like really good actors in this movie.
I think while I was watching, I was literally like, how many like actors are actually in this? Like, because like I think it was when I heard William Dafoe's voice. I'm like, how many like how did they get these? Yeah.
Well, I mean, fucking the movie cost like $300 million, so. But yeah, I really like the performance, and the scene that really, really stuck out to me is the scene where he's fighting all the the four-armed green guys. I can't remember what they're called.
Like the other tribe, yeah.
Yeah, they're called it's like these guys.
Rorocks, or I don't know. It's
Tharks,
like clan.
Yeah, Tharks. They're fighting the Tharks, the other Thark clan, and he's just like killing all of them, and you've got his like dog there, and it's kind of like flashing back to him burying his family, and it just really hit me. Like, especially I remember like back in like 2012 watching it in the theater, and just like him burying his family and then flashing to that. It's kind of like just was really powerful because it's like, oh yeah, this is like when he lost all his hope and everything, and now he's like finally getting it back. He's finally found something worth fighting for that he actually cares about, and I really liked his journey. I liked I think that Andrew Stanton is really funny. Like it's never like, it's not like jokes like in a Judd Apatow movie or something where it's like this stuff, but it'll be something like when she sees like like the Mark Strong copy of herself and she's like, I'm getting away, like stuff like that, like
oh yeah, that cracked me up.
But yeah, just like really cool world building. Like, you know, I'm a sucker obviously for the big swing movies, which is why I was like, I convinced everybody to do a whole series on them. And so this one like checks all the boxes for me of all the stuff I love about those movies. Just big, cool visuals, cool world building, just the weirdness factor that I just love. And it's just kind of like its own thing. It's not based on another movie or anything. It is based on like an old, you know, story, but you know, it's not like John Carter is this like really well-known IP. You know, the only reason anybody really knows it today is if they're like a really big fan of Edgar Rice Burroughs and Tarzan, or if they saw this movie, you know. But Alan, I'm curious, what did you think? Because this was your pick technically. I want to know what you thought about it.
I dug it, man. I me too, dude. I'm a sucker for big swing movies. I'm a except for Avatar, fuck that one. But like,
it's not a big swing. It's not weird enough.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's Pocahontas with blue cats. But yeah, this one I wanted to see it back in 2012, but I think it was one of those where like I was kind of like, I think I was like, I kind of want to hear what somebody says about it. Then maybe I'll go see it. And then nobody really went to go see it, you know, apparently. And so I didn't get to, I kind of said, oh, I'll wait on it, and Netflix or something like that. And but it was always on my watch list. But yeah, I dug it a lot. Like I love the world building. Again, Bryan Cranston came out of nowhere. It's so funny because I've been playing the Power Rangers Battle for the Grid fighting game, and every time I play it, I always think I'm like, I can't fucking believe Bryan Cranston was like in the old Power Rangers, as well as like the most recent one, the 2017. Yeah. We did an episode on that. Go check it out, guys. So I was like, he just shows up in everything. He was in Godzilla, and then I popped this in, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, you're in everything, dude. How are you?
He had like a 3-year period where he was just in every movie. It was weird. Like he was still on Breaking Bad, and he just would just like show up in fucking everything. It was like the Bryan Cranston Renaissance.
Yeah, but like he never had like a major part. He was just always kind of like in Godzilla. He was barely there, and John Carter. He was there in the beginning. He was in Drive, but he was like more of a supporting character. Like you're right. Like right after Breaking Bad, there was just like a set of movies he kept showing up in. But, anyways, yeah, I dug it a lot. Like yeah, there were some things that you guys kind of answered for me where I was like, wait, how did they do this? It is very long. I will say that. I'm a sucker for like the big long kind of world building movies. But it's kind of long where sometimes it's a little slow. And it took me a little bit to get through sometimes where I'm just like, oh, man, I don't know, man. But I powered through it and I kept going through it. And I was like, okay. And then when the action started, and especially around the end, I was like hooked. Like, especially those last 10 minutes where he gets sent back to Earth. Like, I was like, oh my God, I was at the edge of my seat. I was like, okay, now I need to know what the fuck's going on. And like I was like, please don't leave it on a cliffhanger. Don't do this. Like we're gonna set up a sequel, and you have to come back and figure out how he gets back to Mars. But luckily enough, that doesn't happen. And you know, like even all that twist where like you thought he found the medallion to go back, where he says the Klaatu Vrata Nikto stuff, and then he gets sent back, and I was like, oh, thank God. Like I'm so glad it didn't end trying to set up a sequel, even though it kind of did, but it still had this like. You can finish it and be like, okay, that's the end of the story. So all in all, I dug it a lot. And it's literally one of those movies that, like you guys said, that we had started off with a concept for this show came up. And I was like, yeah, John Carter is the epitome of like an underrated like film for me. Like I just really dug it. Like now hearing you guys talk about it and kind of just thinking about it more, I just literally finished watching it like maybe 20 minutes ago. I'm like, oh yeah. But yeah, pretty much loved it. I dug it.
Yeah. It was good to hear. So let me ask you guys then, why do you think this movie was such like a big failure? Like it's right up there with because it depends on like how you adjust for inflation, and you know it's kind of hard to get like exact numbers on this stuff because studios like to keep this close to the vest. But it's up there with the biggest financial failures with a movie of all time. And like I have my theories for sure, but why do you guys think that this movie tanked so bad?
I think it was burnout, truthfully. I mean, we leading up to this, we had all of the a majority at least of the Pirates of the Caribbean, at least like by the third one maybe. I would have to say, I don't know when the third one came out. But
2007.
okay.
Third one came out.
Okay. So yeah, and then especially with that disappointment and this kind of feeling like another like Disney's an attempt to like kind of recreate that or try to kickstart it. I kind of felt like that might have contributed to it. Also, I don't remember Disney really pushing a lot for this movie.
I remember a lot of advertising.
Okay.
Like,
all right.
Like I will get into that though, but
yeah, maybe.
I think it was not good.
I think now think about it. Yeah,
but there
it
was
wasn't
a lot
good.
of it.
Okay, yeah. I think there might have been like McDonald's toys now that I think about it. But yeah, I think it was just like people's opinions on these kind of movies. Definitely probably like critics kind of not really, promote or like, expressing great reviews of it as well.
Yeah, because it did get mixed reviews. It got, I think, a 50% in Rotten Tomatoes, so right down the middle.
Yeah, it's a 50, yeah.
And there's definitely a word of mouth kind of contribution to these types of movies. And if nobody's going to go watch it, or if people watch it say, nah, it's not really worth your time, then, yeah, they probably won't. I think this is also about the round of the time like that those other Tarzan movies. Time is really hard for me.
It was way
right
before
now.
the Tarzan. It was way before Tarzan.
Those two Tarzan movies that came out at the same time.
It was way before that.
Oh god.
Tarzan starring one of the Skarsgårds, the handsome Skarsgård.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I know, I completely forgot about that, dude. I fell asleep 50 times trying to watch that movie.
Yeah. So I think it just didn't capture anybody's like attention, and I think that, at least for me, I think that's what kind of contributed its like lack of success.
I agree a lot with Ariel, like, because I think part of it was like the reviews, partly the marketing, because I did see a lot. I remember going to conventions, and I think I saw like a lot of marketing for it the year before.
Mm-hmm.
But then afterward, there was a lot of bad marketing where I don't know what they were trying to do. I don't know if they were trying to be like, hey, it's like this big new sci-fi epic kind of thing, but it's like swashbuckling kind of action, like Pirates of the Caribbean kind of thing. But I just remember like hearing a lot of like, this is the Pirates, like the new Pirates kind of thing. Like that's what I remember hearing a lot. Mm-hmm. And I think people were just like, I don't want a new Pirates. I want more Pirates kind of thing. And also too, the 2010s were now becoming this comic book kind of thing where like Avengers dropped that same year. And I felt like that just cemented like, hey, comic book movies are fucking in now. Like this is like their golden age. So that might have been a thing too, where maybe just John Carter just came out maybe too soon, where just all these other blockbuster kind of tentpole movies were coming out, where people were trying to create a cinematic universe rather than like do like a trilogy of movies. They're like, no, we want all these characters crossing over because we got Avengers, now everybody has to do it kind of thing. But that's just my theory.
Yeah, no, I think all that's true. And you guys were kind of touching on the marketing, and it's interesting. The marketing for this movie, I think, was really, really bad. Like, to the point where they actually originally it was supposed to be called John Carter of Mars, and like, which makes sense. Like, that's what, like, in the movie, like, kind of like starts with it being like the J and the C, and it's like John Carter, and then it's like the movie ends with like John Carter of Mars, and like that's what the movie was supposed to be called. Like, things were going ahead with that, and then they changed it to just John Carter, and because I think Disney thought it sounded, they were like, lose the of Mars, it's cleaner. And so, but like, what even is that? Like, John Carter, just, it could be fucking anything. It could be a movie about a guy, like a tax return guy or something. Like, it sounds like nothing. And like, I actually worked at a movie theater when this movie came out, and I just remember so many people being like, what is John Carter? And I was like, oh, it's this movie. And like, you have to explain something in 5 seconds to somebody. And like, it's a movie about like a guy, and he It's kind of like Avatar, but it's better than that. And he goes to Mars and be like, I don't know. You know? And so, like, if you have John Carter of Mars in the title, you are describing the movie better. But if you're just John Carter, what is that? A lot of the posters were just like him walking and it looked like a desert, with like kind of like a red thing behind him, and it's like, what is this? Is it some Lawrence of Arabia thing? What's going on? So I think people just like, while they spent so much money on the marketing, they just didn't do. It's like the same thing as The Grey, just like mismarketed, where it's just like, but unlike The Grey, which was marketed as something else, this is just like a bland nothingness. It was just like, I think they were just trying to appeal to everybody, and in the process, they ended up appealing to nobody. And then, obviously, I think a lot of the same problems that you run into with a lot of these big swings is just these big, overambitious, passion projects, because, Stanton had put in the time with his 2 Pixar movies, and he obviously, this is the movie he wanted to make. This is his film. He wanted to make a trilogy. That didn't happen, so he had to go back and make a very middling sequel to Finding Nemo, like Finding Dory, like a story that was fine but didn't need to be told at all, Yeah,
man, it's super unfortunate because I really dug it a lot, and like I said, the ending really just made you go, man, I want more. And I really do agree with the of Mars thing, but you know what it was? At the same time, around that era, there was a lot of movies, and they're still kind of doing it now, where they're just kind of going, hey, maybe we're going to do a remake, or we're going to do a reboot, or we're going to continue on a series of movies. I know it happened a lot with like horror movies where, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think there was a movie that came out at the time where they just called it Texas Chainsaw. Like they're like, let's just take off a word that sounds fucking cool. Like it
instead of the Blair Witch Project, there was Blair Witch.
Or
remember that?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. There you go.
Or Alan's favorite, instead of The Evil Dead, Evil Dead.
Well, I mean, that one's okay. I forgive it because it's a remake. But like, even
go
then,
back and listen to that podcast and hear Alan.
Alan's just
like. I mean, now I'm kind of like okay with it. I'm like, now everyone knows it. Like, because even with the original Evil Dead, everybody's like, Evil Dead '84, Evil Dead 2013. Right, like there's that Saw movie coming out.
Spiral. Well, it is supposed to be a different copycat. It's not. I don't know. I won't go into it.
It's not Jigsaw, but it's still like in the universe. So they're like, we're gonna call it Spiral.
And then, lose the it's cleaner.
Like, what's another? I know there's one more that like I legit like when they announced it, I was like, get the fuck out, man.
I remember like the one of the Fast and the Furious sequels is just called Fast and Furious.
Oh, there you go.
Furious, yeah.
Fast and Furious.
Not the Fast and Furious and the Furious. Yeah. I was about to say that too.
Those are the most confusingly fucking named movies ever in the world. Like,
well, it's just called F9 now.
Yeah, this one's just called fucking F9.
Yeah.
F9, F10, Fast and Furious in space.
Some of them are just called like Fast, like Fast something,
Fast
and some of them are just called like Furious something, and it's just like, okay.
That's
like I get it, they can't make so many titles, but I'm like, why not just go Fast and Furious 6, Fast and Furious 7?
I
like,
know.
I don't think anyone's gonna be that upset, but they're like, it's the marketing team. They're like, how does it just sound fucking cool?
That's why Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift is like a lot of people's favorites, because it's like
nobody likes that movie. No,
what?
The best.
No, dude, I love that movie. That movie's the shit.
Yeah.
I
The best
love
named
that.
one though is
Drift.
Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah.
Like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
That's a pretty badass name. I'm not gonna lie. Like even when they saw the first one and they're like, they're gonna make a sequel, I was like, it better be called like Too Fast, Too Furious or some shit. Like
that's
the
always
Fast
the
and the
funniest
Too
things
Furious.
when they like title like sequels as like a 2, like Journey 2, The Mysterious Island.
yeah.
Or like
Journey
Electric, or was it Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, and then dang it, I just had one that was like
No, do you know what the best sequel title of all time is? Mm-hmm. It's Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again.
Yeah.
That's fucking perfect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My favorite is the ones that they use for the third one,
Uh-huh.
where back then they would just be like Scream 3 or something.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're just like, what movie is it? There's a movie that has like a third one that has like a third, but there's an E in the name.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
instead of calling it like, the first one was like Scream 1, Scream 2, and then Scream 3 comes out, but instead of calling it Scream 3 or something, they replace the E with a
Yes,
3 in there.
yes.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
not 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't call it Scream 3, they just call it Scream because the E should tell you enough. And I'm like, that's fucking confusing.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why, if John Carter would have got its sequels, it would have been John and then Carter, but the E before the R would have just been a 3, like a backwards 3.
Yeah.
What we could have had.
What we could have
had.
What you could have had. This is leading into us like our announcement of our next series of podcasts, right? Our next series of sequels, yeah. So that's kind of little hint.
So we'll give you guys we'll let you guys know right here. Just we are going to be talking about some sequel movies this summer, so stay tuned for that. It's Alan's brainchild, and I'm very excited for it.
I'm excited for it too, man. I love sequels, especially stupid titles like those. Like, so,
Too Fast, Too
like,
Furious
yes.
is going to be in there. No, it's not. No, it's not.
But anyways, yeah, man. I'm it's like killing me that I can't remember what movie that is with the 3 in it. Like, it's literally just said the same fucking way.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I guess like there's the Suicide Squad coming out. Like, what are we, some kind of the Suicide Squad? But yeah.
I wonder. Yeah, I wonder. But yeah.
But any final words for
do you guys recommend this movie then? I mean, it's on Disney Plus, so it pretty much. I mean, if you got Disney Plus, you can watch it.
Yeah, I recommend it.
Go.
I recommend it in the end. I mean, it is long, so just be in it for that. Like you could definitely like, if you want to zone out for a little bit, you could zone out for a little bit, not miss it too much.
You might just miss why are they all talking English? But then
me too. I know. Yeah, that's what. Don't worry about it. It just works. I went along with it. I'm like, yeah, okay. They understand each other now. But yeah, I mean, the action is very enjoyable. It's pretty enjoyable. That's how I'll describe it. It's a pretty enjoyable movie.
Yeah. No, it's a good time. This is like the ultimate. Just like, let's watch something fun and watch something good that's going to entertain you for 2.5 hours. So
it is really 2.5 hours. Oh my god.
No, I think it was like maybe like 2 hours.
Let me take a look.
Minutes,
Let me take a look. Yeah.
I think it was like 2 hours and 15 minutes, but definitely I would check it out, especially since if you're kind of like, you know what, I want to see something space opera-y, I guess, but it's not necessarily Star Wars. But, and also too, if you're just like, you know what, I kind of want to watch something in preparation for Dune, maybe I'll give John Carter a watch, because I feel like it has that same deserty space feel, so at least you can be like, watch some John Carter.
Yeah.
I feel like if there was a sequel for it, it would have just been called John 2. And then the third one would have been Carter.
I was about to say John 2 Carter.
John Carter 2 John Carter 3 Parabellum.
Yeah. And then John Carter 4 of Mars.
Yeah.
Like John Carter, of Mars.
Yeah.
Bullshit. And then the fifth one would have been like John Carter Resurrection.
Or Back to Earth. Yeah.
Back to Earth,
Back to what's it? Not Barsoom. What do they call Earth in this movie?
Jasum.
Jasum.
Yeah, they're all
Jasum.
Yeah, everything ends in a zoom.
Yeah. Also, I just gotta say before we wrap up real fast, like fucking Mark Strong in this movie. Just like I love how he's just like, he's just like so just like kind of like affably evil, where he's just like all proper and like, oh yes, Mr. Carter. You must be sound like you're from America, the South. And he's like, sir. And he's like, Virginia, no, Tennessee. Yes, okay. And just, I don't know, just Mark Strong. Just, I appreciate him as a villain, fucking all day, every day. Like as much as it's great to have like both like the villains from two of the three villains from the original Spider-Man trilogy as the Tharks in this movie, like I got to give the MVP in this movie to Mark Strong.
Let's see. Willem
Wait,
Dafoe.
what? Two out of the three?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
William
Yeah, you got
Dafoe.
Thomas Hayden Church is like the other
Yeah,
guy.
Willem Dafoe.
You got Willem Dafoe and Thomas Hayden Church is the Thark
one
who like
yeah.
takes over and is just like, I have challenged.
No way.
Yeah.
And then what's the third?
That guy has such a
Two of the
unique
three.
voice.
Oh,
Two of the three.
I'm surprised I didn't catch it.
Yeah. We were missing was
I
Alfred
know.
Molina.
Yeah.
Alfred Molina could have totally just been another like alien, or I'm sorry, Martian. Thark.
Thark, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A
He'd be
Thark.
like-
He could have just. Yeah.
I've only got half as many arms now.
Yeah.
Ah. Just kind of hoping to see one that just looked like Goro from like Mortal Kombat. He just had like the one ponytail just sticking out. Like it's in the background. It didn't have to be like a main guy. Just to be like
An
just this
Easter egg?
overly buff like Easter, like an Easter egg of just there's all the Tharks and then just see one with like the Mortal Kombat dragon on his belt or something with a ponytail and he's just like just like flexing and you're just like. Fuck is that over there, dude? I think that's Goro.
One more moment I just want to point out that is just like such a fucking great moment is when like after John Carter kills like the white apes and stuff and he's like, I challenge, and Thomas Hayden Church is just like, all right, we're gonna fucking fight now,
And he
you're like,
jumps
all right.
up.
And it's like I just saw this guy kill like 80 Tharks and now they're gonna give me this big battle where one is supposed to be a threat and it's like no, he just cuts his head off without even like
I
barely
actually
batting an
really
eyelash.
dug that.
That was so fucking great. Did you see his head? Just
I really dug that a lot because because me and my girlfriend were expecting the same. Like I was kind of thinking, like, dude, this guy just killed like two giant white apes, and like this guy's gonna be like, okay, and he was already making excuses like, well, you can't do it because you're not a Thark, and then they're like, no excuses, fuck that. And I was like, I really hope he just like stabs him midair. No, he cuts his head off, and then I like how there's like gore for a PG-13 movie, a Disney movie at that, but it's all completely excused because it's blue blood.
Yeah.
Yep. It's this trick they did in Ocarina of Time where they made Ganon's after the original batch, they made Ganon's blood like green so that they wouldn't get a T rating. So yeah, they're like, yeah, okay, it's cool. We can have a lot of gore. It's blue blood. It's fantasy blood, so you're good.
Yeah, exactly. If it's fantasy blood, it's good. Same thing with like Samurai Jack way back in the day. If anybody's ever, damn, it's probably been a long time since it came out. But Samurai Jack, their way of getting around the gore is supposed to be like this samurai Akira Kurosawa kind of like animated show or Cartoon Network, but like they wanted to make it gory, but they were like, how can we do that? Robots, and when they cut the robots apart. Just oil. So oil just like, they cut their fucking head off and it's like they're like, it's okay. It's robot blood. Oil, I'm sorry, it's oil.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think we are all agreed.
Just if you need to get around the gore, just make it blue, green, oil.
Yeah, but yeah, everybody out there, I would say, set some time aside because this is not a movie where you could just quickly watch it, but set some time aside when you got like a day, you're not doing much, and just throw it on. It's a fun, great film, especially if you like these kind of big action adventure type movies.
Yeah, definitely.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate you guys coming back, listening to us. And of course, we have other shows, and I want you guys to go ahead and check it out. It's anywhere you find your podcasts at. And Ariel and Derick, if you guys want to go ahead and talk about your shows.
Yeah, so I have one called You've Never Seen. It's a monthly podcast where we cover movies that are considered a staple of cinema history or pop culture history, where I or somebody else has never seen a movie that fits that description, and we introduce each other to it and get our impressions and reactions after our first viewing of it.
Yep, and then I do a show also called Gateway Episodes that is kind of about taking a look at iconic or really good TV shows and introducing them to someone. Sometimes I'll introduce somebody or somebody will introduce me to a show and seeing if you want to step through the gateway and get into the show. I know Ariel's gonna show me Legion. I just showed somebody The Leftovers for the first time, so I have a lot of fun with that. That's once a month. Mine comes out on the 15th every month, and Ariel's comes out on the 1st every month.
And I don't have a show, but for the past couple of weeks or so, I've been kind of a guest over on the podcast called Cringe or Binge with Los Muchachos Media. Every now and again, I pop in just to guess, and we've been talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be doing that here as well. That one was kind of just every other week. We kind of talked about it a little bit, but I know here with us on on our cast company, I'm pretty sure we're going to be doing
on our
Dragon
once in a while podcast called Infinity Stones and Dragon Bones. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say Infinity Bones and Dragon Stones?
Yeah.
Infinity Stones and Dragon Bones. Yeah, we're definitely gonna be talking. I'm really excited to talk to you guys about it. I haven't talked. I don't think I'm gonna be a guest on the other one for the finale, but I'm really, really excited to talk about that with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
especially because I swear every Friday we talk about it. We text each other and we're like, "Oh my god, what about this? What about this?" So I'm very, very hyped for that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I can't wait.
I'm excited. And also, guys, if you want to, if you got $1 that you don't know what to do with every month, we got a Patreon, so it's only $1 to sign up. So just patreon.com/undercastcompany. If you guys are interested at all, we got a bonus podcast there. So when some more people sign up, we do new episodes. So yeah.
Sweet. Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate you guys listening. Please listen to all of this stuff. Please, we always love to hear from you guys. So, comment on Instagram, Twitter, whatever you guys need. Please, we love to hear from you guys.
Yep. Bye. Thanks for being amazing.
See you in another life.
Take it easy.